Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you guys submit your gaming or Battlefield 3 related questions, and then I give my opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way, if you would like to submit your own question, you can do so by sending me a YouTube message with the title line Q&A, or you can leave a comment down below, whatever one you're most comfortable with, and I can potentially talk about it in an upcoming episode. The first question for today is, what would you think of not having a kill cam when you kill somebody with a suppressed weapon? I'm saying this because a lot of the time I sneak up behind enemies with a suppressor, and although they cannot see me on the minimap, the moment I kill them, they will be able to see where I was. I think this would add a lot more reasons for people to use a suppressor, and the suppressor would actually be useful. Yeah, actually I think this is a pretty clever idea. I know that I don't use the suppressor all that often. I still think it's a fairly useful attachment in some circumstances. I mean, as of right now, since they nerfed the suppressor attachment quite significantly a bunch of patches ago, I mean, it's been months since the change. A lot of people basically stare at their minimap the entire match just to try to find their next target, and when you don't have a suppressor, you can take a lot of people by surprise, and it's quite humorous to take out one of their friendly targets right next to them. You can tell they kind of pause for a second, and you know that they're looking at their minimap to see where their ally died from, and then you proceed to take them out. So it is quite amusing when you are able to use the suppressor effectively. But you're absolutely right. Not a lot of people out there use it. It's not as useful as some of the other attachments, and I think that this would be a nice little change to it. By no means would it make it overpowered. It would just simply allow you to be a little bit more stealthy. And this is even more so when you take out a target who is playing with his friends. I mean, when you kill someone who is playing with a bunch of his buddies, once you take him out, he's going to tell them exactly where you are from the kill cam. And, you know, I mean, that's just how the game is right now, but if you had the suppressor and it did have this nice feature to it, they wouldn't have that huge advantage on you, and you could proceed to hopefully take them out, and they wouldn't, you know, be able to pinpoint your exact location. So once again, this would be a nice, interesting aspect of the game. I think it would be awesome, but I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section below. The next question for today is, all the DLC map packs have had a theme. What do you think the DLC map pack endgame themes will be? So I've given this some thought, and I think that the DLC is going to be based around American cities, like maybe like New York or LA, something along those lines. And if you guys remember from a really long time ago, even before the Close Quarter DLC was out, or we knew anything about the future DLCs except for Back to Karkand, there was a rumor that one of the DLCs was going to be based around American cities, and people were really excited about this. I remember talking with all my friends saying how cool it would be to fly in an Apache helicopter or an attack helicopter in, you know, around skyscrapers. How awesome would that be? But that never came to be. You know, we got the Close Quarter DLC, then we got Armored Kill. I like them, but, you know, it's no American cities. And so I know it's been such a long time since that rumor was started, and apparently someone had a source. I'm not sure if that's true by any means, but I think that could possibly be what we're gonna get with Endgame. And the second reason why I think this might be the case, and I know I'm kind of grasping at straws right now, but if I remember right, the final mission or end game for the Battlefield 3 campaign took place in New York City, or one of the large American cities. And I know, like I said, I know I'm grasping at straws, but there could be a small correlation between the final mission or end game in the campaign and the end game or final DLC. Really what's going to come down to is we're just going to have to wait for more information. I hope that's the case. I think it would be amazing to play in some very iconic cities in America. Hopefully we will see a small trailer in the next couple of weeks. I remember when Armored Kill just first was released, they gave us kind of an introduction to Armored Kill, and at the very end of that trailer there was a small little snippet of the Aftermath DLC. So hopefully they'll do the same thing for Endgame. We'll really just have to wait and see, but I cannot wait. The final question for today is, I would like to know your opinion about why Medal of Honor is having such terrible reviews. I'm enjoying the game so far, and I want more people to jump in the game, but with these reviews, no more people will come. What is your opinion on this? So I think there's a fair amount of reasons why Medal of Honor Warfighter didn't take off or didn't do as well as a lot of people were hoping it would do. I didn't really have high expectations for the game. I remember when I purchased Medal of Honor 2010, I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. I was completely wrong. I thought the game was terrible. It had terrible map design. The weapons didn't really feel like they were very fleshed out. There really wasn't a whole lot of customization and, you know, any guns to begin with, and it just didn't feel like its own game. And while I feel like Medal of Honor Warfighter is way better than that game, I still feel like they tried to go for something in between Battlefield 3 and the Call of Duty franchise, but they just didn't really establish themselves as their own unique game, and they suffered for it, and they really didn't bring a whole lot to the genre or the industry, really. I mean, the fire team system is awesome. I think that's probably one of the strongest things about it, but it's also got problems with it, because if you're not with a friend or your fire team buddy sucks, then your experience in the game is severely diminished. I mean, the fire team system is a crucial part of the game, and when you're not playing with someone who actually knows what they're doing or not playing with a friend, it can reduce your fun in the game, and that's kind of disappointing. So I think that's one part of it. And another thing, and something that really disappointed me, is that they are using the Frostbite 2 engine, and a lot of you're Battlefield players, and you've played Battlefield 3, and you know how gorgeous that game looks, but then you go over to Medal of Honor, it's like the maps are smaller. You would assume they would have way more overhead to just crank up the graphics and make them exceptional, but that's not the case. Really, while they don't look terrible by any means on PC, they still look nothing like Battlefield 3, and for me at least, that was a huge disappointment. I know that graphics don't make a game, but it kind of diminishes it, especially when you know that there's so much potential with the Frostbite 2 engine. And finally, they probably created one of the worst user interfaces I've ever had the experience to use, at least for their actually for the entire game. Their user interface in Medal of Honor Warfighter is atrocious. It took me about an hour just to figure out how I could play with my friends, just to group up with them and start a game. Took me an hour, and that, in my opinion, is absolutely unacceptable. And so I think it's just a combination. I could go on, and I may even make a video as to why Medal of Honor has failed, and just kind of make a laundry list of all of the many reasons. But really, it's just the fact that they didn't provide really anything new to the first-person shooter scene, and it just doesn't feel like it's its own unique game. It just feels like they kind of went in between Battlefield 3 and the Call of Duty franchise, and it just doesn't distinguish itself from either of them, and I think that's probably the main reason why it has failed. But yeah, guys, that's it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I would love to know what you guys thought about today's topics. Let me know in the comments section below. But if you guys enjoyed today's video or just want to support my channel, I always appreciate it when you give my videos a rating, and if you haven't already, subscribed for more. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.